Alright, if you have clearly understood what we discussed in the previous section, you should be able to answer this question. Is 0.275 a rational number? We have just learned that all terminating decimals are rational numbers. Hence, 0.275 is also a rational number. But have you thought of why a decimal terminates? Think about it. If you observe carefully the value 0.275, I can see that I can easily express it as 275 by 1000, right? And 275 by 1000 is in the form of p by q, where both p and q are integers. That is why this is a rational number. Now think about any other terminating decimal. For example, 0.1263. Is it a rational number? Of course it is, because it's a terminating decimal. Now can you express this terminating decimal in p by q form? Of course you can. All you need to do is write 0.1263 as 1263 by 10,000. Now think carefully about the two examples that we just discussed. So we discussed 0.275 could be expressed as 275 by 1000 and 0.1263 could be expressed as 1263 by 10,000. Now can you observe something here? You can see that the denominator in both cases are powers of 10. So this means that if the denominator could be expressed in powers of 10, that fraction will terminate. So all terminating decimals, for example 0.2, 0.75, 0.564, take whatever terminating decimals you want to take. You can always express it in p by q form, where the denominator will be in powers of 10. And all of us know that 10 is composed of prime factors 2 and 5. What does it mean? It means that even if the denominator consists of only powers of 2 or only powers of 5 or just powers of both 2 and 5, we can certainly express the denominator in powers of 10. Let's quickly understand this clearly by taking an example. Consider the fraction 7 by 8. Will this result in a terminating decimal? Let's see. 7 by 8 can be expressed as 7 by 2 cube. Notice that the denominator here is not in powers of 10. But can you do something with this fraction so that the denominator could be expressed in powers of 10? If you think about it, you can realize that if you multiply both the numerator and denominator by 5 cube, the resultant fraction will have the denominator in powers of 10. Understand that if you multiply both numerator and denominator by the same number, the value of the fraction is not going to change, because you are essentially multiplying the fraction by 1. So what happens when you multiply both numerator and denominator by 5 cube? You will get the result as 7 times 125 by 1000, which is nothing but 0.875. So what does it mean? It means that even if the denominator is just powers of 2, you could still express that denominator as powers of 10 by doing some manipulation. So what does it mean? 7 by 8 was a fraction where the denominator was only powers of 2. We just saw how we could manipulate that fraction and make the denominator powers of 10. So it means that even if a fraction has denominator with only powers of 2, it would result in a terminating decimal. Let's now consider another number, 9 by 125. Now will this result in a terminating decimal? Let's see. 9 by 125 can be expressed as 9 by 5 cube. Now can we do something with this fraction so that we could express the denominator in powers of 10? If you think about it carefully, you can see that if you multiply both numerator and denominator by 2 cube, the denominator will be in powers of 10. And what happens when you do that? You will get the result as 9 into 8 by 10 cube, which is nothing but 0.072, which is again a terminating decimal. Here notice that the denominator of 9 by 125 was just powers of 5, but we saw that we could do some manipulation with this fraction so that we could express the denominator as powers of 10. So we can say that if the denominator is only powers of 5, still we can express the denominator in powers of 10 by doing some manipulation. Let's consider another fraction, 29 by 20. Will this result in a terminating decimal? So we will follow the same process. 29 by 20 could be expressed as 29 by 4 into 5, or it could be even written as 29 by 2 square into 5. Notice here that the denominator consists of powers of 2 and powers of 5. Now can you express the denominator in powers of 10? Of course you can. If you carefully look at this expression, you can see that if you multiply both the numerator and denominator by 5, you could express the denominator as powers of 10. Now when you do that, what is it that you are going to get? You will get this as 29 times 5 by 100. And what is that? That is going to be 145 by 100, which is 1.45. Again, we got the result as a terminating decimal. So what does it mean? It means that if the denominator is only powers of 2 or only powers of 5 or just powers of 2 and 5, we could still express the denominator as powers of 10 by doing some manipulation. And understand clearly that the manipulations which we are talking about is not changing the value of the fraction in any ways, because you are multiplying the numerator and denominator by the same number. Let's try and do one last example to seal this concept. Consider the number 12 by 54. Do you think this will result in a terminating decimal? Let's see. 12 by 54, I can reduce this further by prime factorizing the numerator and denominator. When I do that, I can express 12 by 54 as 2 square times 3 by 2 times 3 cube. Now cancelling off the common factors in both numerator and denominator, I get the result as 2 by 3 square, which is 2 by 9. Now the question here is, can you express the denominator as powers of 10? Notice that the denominator here is 3 square. It's not a power of 2 or it's not a power of 5. Since the denominator is not a power of either of 2 or 5 or both, we cannot express the denominator in powers of 10. So the resultant expression will not be terminating. You can easily check the value of 2 by 3 square, that is 2 by 9, which is going to be 0.22222. It goes on like that. Now does these examples help you understand clearly when a decimal terminates and when a decimal does not terminate? Let's quickly summarize what we have just learnt. In general, for any fraction given in its reduced form, if the denominator consists of only powers of 2 or only powers of 5 or just powers of both 2 and 5, we can certainly express the denominator in powers of 10, and hence that particular fraction would result in a terminating decimal. Hope this is clear to you. If you have any doubt, feel free to use the doubt section to post your queries. We will be happy to help you.